In this video, we will talk about another thinking error which is called catastrophizing. In this thinking error, our mind starts thinking all sort of bad things happening from a very minor event that actually happens in our life. So a minor event happens in our life. For example, I got a B in maths. I will never be able to graduate. So something happens, but then our mind starts to exaggerate this thing. Something like, she seems upset at me, she will leave me and will never want to be with me anymore. So something bad happens between me and my partner, but then I started to catastrophizing this thing, so something really bad will happen. So that's one thing about this thinking error. The second thing that can happen in this thinking error, that we first predict that a negative outcome will happen, like I know I will not be able to finish my assignment on time. So first I kind of do this fortune telling thing that something bad will happen, I will not be able to finish the assignment on time. Then you jump to a conclusion that if the negative outcome that you predict happens, then it will cause significant problem in your life, like I will not be able to finish my assignment and I know I will be kicked out from the college. So you predict something bad will happen and then you exaggerate or catastrophize this thinking error. You are waiting for your partner to come to home. Usually he is home by 6 p.m. but today he is not at home on time. So you picked up the phone and you called him, but he did not reply. And then you start thinking something bad has happened. He should be calling me. He might be in an accident. Why he has not called me? Why he is late? And then what happens, because my mind keeps thinking about this thing, I start having increased anxiety and maybe even a panic attack. Another example is, I asked my friend to go watch a movie and she said no. I started thinking that I will never have friends who will like to hang out with me and I will always be alone. So again, something happened and I thought in a different way, and I started thinking that I will never be able to hang out with my friends and I will always be alone. Because you feel that something catastrophizing going to happen, you end up feeling anxious and sad. You also feel that you would not be able to handle that catastrophizing event. So these were few examples of things that either happened in our life and then we tend to think too much about this event, or nothing has happened, we predict something will happen, and if this thing will happen, then you start catastrophizing. So why we do that? There are few reasons. One is that it can be a protective mechanism that our brain is doing. Like if I think that something really bad or worse will happen in the future, and I predicted that it will happen, and if these things does not happen in the future, then I feel relieved that something bad did not happen. So unconsciously I tell my brain that something bad will happen, but then if it does not happen, then I feel relaxed. Another reason that sometimes catastrophizing thinking make us not to take chances in our life, as we already predicted that something bad will happen, I will not be able to succeed. So why work hard? Why bother? So unconsciously our brain keeps thinking that why work hard? Why put an effort, because you know something bad will happen. So I believe these are these unconscious thinking that we have in our mind, and our mind keeps telling us not to take chances, not to put an effort, and that's why we have these catastrophizing thinking also. But how to fix it? Before we fix any problem, we first have to figure out what the problem is, and first we have to learn what catastrophizing is. So the first step will be to learn what catastrophizing is. Once we learn what catastrophizing is, then we need to catch and stop it. And we can even tell our friends or significant other that if I am catastrophizing, please let me know. Once you catch yourself, you can tell yourself that, oh, I am catastrophizing. Remember that a thinking error does not mean that you are a bad person or you will never get better. You just have to label that thinking. Just tell your brain that I am catastrophizing right now. Then take deep breath. Just inhale in and exhale out. Be in the moment and see what your body is telling you. If your body is tense, just try to relax. Just try to be in the moment and don't get upset. Don't judge yourself. And it might be possible that once you catch this thinking error, once you are in the moment, once you are doing your breathing techniques, and once you are not getting upset and are not judging yourself, sometimes the thought will go away on its own. Because what you are doing, you are not attaching yourself to that thought. You are letting this thought go away. Rather than thinking about it too much, you are just letting it go. So once you are letting that thinking go, it will not bother you. It will go on its own. But let's say if it does not go on its own, if it's still there. So the next step you can do is to reframe the situation. You can think, are there any other reason why things have happened in your life at this time? Going back to the example of your partner, that you are worried that why your partner is not at home on time, you can think that, can my partner be late in traffic? And maybe he's not getting the cell phone reception. You can also think about, if your friend, he does not want to go on a movie with you or hang out with you, but does it really means that he does not like you? Are there any other reason? He might be busy. He might have already have some plans with some other people. If those thoughts goes away, that's good. If it does not goes away, then you can think about if these kind of thinking pattern has happened in the past, or the thing I am worried about, has it happened in the past. Let's say if I'm worried about if I got a B grade in my assignment and I will be kicked out from my school. Has it happened in the past? Has I gotten a B grade and I got in trouble? Or you can ask your friends that if these things has happened in their life and what were the consequences of those. A lot of time you will see that our mind is exaggerating things and there are no consequences of some of these actions. If it goes away, these thinking pattern, that's good. If it does not, then you can weigh the evidence. Is there any evidence that my friend does not want to hang out with me? Think about in the past, if these things have happened. If my friend does not want to hang out with me, does it mean that he does not like me? Is there any evidence that my friend does not like me? Or if my friend will not hang out with me, I will be alone, no one wants to hang out with me. Is there any evidence? You can think about, do I have friends? Does my friends want to hang out with me? Have I gone to movies with my friends? So you can think about these things that have happened in the past, and then you can tell yourself that I don't have any reason to believe that my friend don't like me or they don't want to hang out with me, because in the past my friends have hang out with me, I enjoyed my time with them, and this is just a thinking pattern that I am having right now. And even if this thinking pattern does not go away, then you can think about, am I thinking too much here? Is my mind is thinking too much? And should I ask some of my friends about it? And should I get another opinion from a friend or significant other that am I thinking correctly, or am I doing that catastrophizing thinking? And let's say still this thinking does not go away. Your mind is thinking about it, you are feeling more anxious. So then what we can think is just take an example and put the example or put the thought on a piece of paper. Let's say my thinking is that I am not doing a good presentation at work at this time. I am worried that I will lose my job. So you just write down that thinking pattern on a piece of paper. And then think, what's the worst can happen? The worst that can happen, your mind will tell you that, oh, I will lose my job. So you can say, okay, let's say if you lose your job, what's the worst can happen? Then your mind might say, oh, if I lose my job, I will lose my house. Then you can again say, okay, let's say if this thing happens, then what will happen? Then your mind might say, oh, my family will leave me. So you again write this thing down on a piece of paper, and then you again tell, okay, let's say if your family will leave you, then what will happen? Your mind might say, oh, I will be homeless because now I don't have a house, I don't have a family. Again, write down this thought on a piece of paper, and again think, let's say if this thing happens, then what will happen? Then your mind might say, oh, I will not be able to talk to my friend, no one will like me, they will stop talking to me. And you start writing down this thing on a piece of paper, and your mind might say that, oh, I think I am a loser, I will never succeed, no one likes me. Doing this technique, which is also called downward arrow technique, what happens that at the end you will notice that with a lot of our thoughts there is a deep-seated thought, and the deep-seated thought here is that I am a loser. So we might need to work on that thinking, that why you feel that you are a loser. And again, you can do that another technique of if you have any evidence that you are a loser, you can go back to your life and think, okay, the good things you have done, you have spent time with your family, with your friends, you are working, you are in school. So these thinking are showing that you are not a loser. Do you have any reason to believe that you are a loser? And most of the time we don't have a lot of reason to believe that we are losers. So then your mind will realize that a lot of time what we are thinking is not correct. Because I thought that I had a bad presentation, I keep thinking in an extreme way, in catastrophizing way, up to a point that I start feeling that I am a loser. And a lot of time these deep-seated thinking is basically a core belief that a lot of time we have, and once we keep going deep in our feeling, we tend to find out our core belief. So when you find those core beliefs, think about, do you have any evidence of that? A lot of our negative thoughts are actually negative. We don't have any reason to believe it, but our mind keeps playing tricks with us. But doing these techniques that I showed you hopefully will help you manage this catastrophizing thinking. Thanks for watching.